round, baby, light round like a record. I was watching a YouTube short a little while ago, and that popped into my head. But we are here, ladies and gentlemen, on my press account. As I said yesterday, I wanted to take just a little bit of a break from live streaming gun marks, and because we're on my press account, I don't really need to care all too much. So we're going to have some fun. I'm going to play some tanks you guys want to see, and we already have Tyrone the Booty Tickler donating for the Type 63, so I guess we're going to start the stream off with that. But yes, today we will be playing tanks that you guys want to see played. There probably won't be any raging or anything like that today because I'm not on my main account. I will probably stream tomorrow when it comes to marking tanks, but we'll see. Play the Type 5. Okay. You know what? You know what? Alright. Yeah, we're gonna do the Type 63. Let's hop into Q. Also, I don't know why I'm running enhanced armor on this thing, because the turret's already impervious, so I'm gonna run extra HP. Black Goldville. What do you guys think of Black Goldville? Personally, I think it's one of the worst maps in the game. I really do. What's the lore? The lore of what? The Glibgo Gabgalab? The Shwibble Dibble Glibble... Dibble Glibble... I don't even know how it goes. Did I finish gun marks? I finished the mouse's gun mark, but I have not finished... I've done 10 gun marks so far. I don't understand how Dizzy's ground like 16 or something ridiculous. Maybe even more. I don't remember how many Dizzy said he ground, but it was a lot, which means he's probably put like 60 to 70 hours into Blitz this week, which is just insane when you think about it. I'm only doing a gun mark day, if that. I don't really need to stream them every single day, though, as many of you are well aware. I don't really gain anything from streaming them every day. Like, when I do Pick My Tank streams, I actually get more money because a lot of people donate to see specific tanks played that they want to see. But when I do streams on marking, it's more just me raging and no donations. So, I tend to want to do Pick My Tank streams more, but I also want to get my marks done, so it's back and forth. I'm the Glibgo Gabgalab, the Shrivel Dibble Glibble Gibble Libble Libble Lab. I am the thoughts of yeast in mind. Hello, Cornway. How you doing, mate? Okay. I love my orangey. Oh. Apparently the Conway can just go right through my turrets. That doesn't make any sense because this tank actually has really, really good turret armor, but okay. Oh, no. If you shoot me, you like men. Guess he likes men. You heard it here, folks. You heard it here. I can't believe that Conway went through my turret. We're going to have to look at Armor Inspector and see if the Conway can actually cut through my turret. Because I'm pretty sure this thing has enough armor that it can't. Yeah, I knew you'd poke it, you bozo. It's always the same plays from the same 20% players. But unfortunately, when they're in tank destroyers like the 183 or the ISU, they still manage to take 600 to 900 of your health away. You spin me right round, baby, right round, like a record, baby, right round, right round. When did this stream start? Like 2 minutes ago. You spin me. Alright, let's aim it on the Progetto. Nice. We're already up to 2,000 damage, which is totally chill. I'm interested to see what the marking requirements for Tier 8 is going to be. I'm not 100% confident on this, but I'm going to assume that Wargaming is going to add Tier 8 next update for marking. And if they do, that's the tier I'm most excited for, because I feel like Tier 8 is going to be an interesting grind. There's a lot of Tier 8, some of which I think are really fun, and I actually do feel like some of the requirements might be challenging, so I'm interested to see. Okay, that guy's going to shoot the Progetto. I'm going to shoot the IS-3, and there you go, 2,700 damage. Not a bad game at all. Hello, man of word, De La Diego. Either way, pretty chill game. Alright, we're going to do the 1-2-1. You know, it looks to me like the 1-2-1's getting nerfed. Let me see. Where is the 1-2-1? I have all the patch notes. As one of my friends sent me them. Let me see. VK72, IO7, 116F3. You spin me right round, baby, right round like a record, baby. So the 1-2-1, this is interesting. Because I can show you guys this. So it says here that the 1-2-1's alpha damage is going from 420 to 440. And because of that, the reload speed is going from 8.72 to 9.2, right? You can clearly see this. But what's interesting is if, let me pull up the thing. If we pull up the changes on GitHub that one of the people compiled, and we scroll down to the 1-2-1, they don't show the alpha damage going up. They show the DPM going down, they show the reload getting longer, but they don't show the alpha damage changing. And then if we actually click on the tank and we go to Blitzkit Open Test, we can see it's Open Test at the top. Again, it doesn't show the 1-2-1's alpha going to 420. Does anybody know if Wargaming is making the alpha damage of this tank 440 or is it staying at 420? Does anybody know that? Because I'm not 100% sure. I haven't really looked if Wargaming's added any patch notes, but I was going to make a video on all the changes, and now I don't know if it's 420 or 440. Kind of weird. Alright. I will play in the 1-2-1. By the way, guys, I got the Tentacussy camo on this thing. It's so freaking goofy. Look at it. What is this, bro? Wargaming's just watching hentai, I guess. Droodles' gameplay is so peak. Yes, I am the mighty Peekler McDeekler. Where's the 1-2-1? Where is it? There it is. I do like the camo for the 1-2-1. It's kind of cool. That's fine. I think Blitzkit is bugged. 3 mark the smasher for me? Okay. Of course your peak Kohler Bore is the freaking femboy PFP. Of course it is. Someone had a lot of fun designing that Tentacussy camo. Indeed. Indeed they did. When I play the Titan 54D. It's where you guys, like, watch my videos, and then you're like, I want to see him play that tank. I'm grinding the 263. Can you play in the SU-101? You know what? Sure. We'll do the SU-101. That's a tank that nobody ever asks to see played, so we'll do it. Ding Bo Xin Yao. I do like the 1-2-1. It's a very fun tank. You spin me right round, baby, right round like a record. It's stuck in my head, bro. Well, we got spotted by the boss, Chatillon. Anybody else? Hello? Well, we got some assistance damage by the Yagtagger shooting that guy. Hello, is anybody there? Oh, we got a Tiv here. Oh, and we got a 57 heavy in the Boom Clan. Unfortunately, I don't have the gun depression to hit him, and oh, okay, there it is. There it is. Droodles makes 1 poke, and I get shot. How fun. I want to shoot the boss Chatillon. Dang it. This ain't good. I might be a little cooked here, guys. I don't have too much support, which is not very good. I might bail. I might get the heck out of here. Boom. Okay. I do like the 1-2-1, but sometimes the armor doesn't really work. Ah, are we going to get YOLO'd by the Kron? Well, we do have a Yag overlooking, so that's nice. And we have the 57 heavy as well. Okay, put on my tungsten, there you go. TVP misses me. Okay. Alright. Okay. That's crazy. That's all I can say. That's crazy. I might be cooked. The 1-2-1 is a fun tank, but it didn't do much this game to support me. Let's head over this way. Keep on going. Keep on going. Alright, nice. Super Conk? Sure. I do like the Skonker. It's a fun tank.
At Ethan_HV3
I don't like this team.
$2 Singapore through Super Chat. GOODDD morning VIETNAMMMM. Super Conk PLS.
Well, not dead yet. I'm still alive, partner. Nice 470 into the 57. We reload, and we aim it on the Kron, who is over here. And what's your big play, big boy? Okay. Observation device broken. Yeah, you gonna get me? Come on. Oh. Oh, come on, tunnel me. Tunnel me, bozo. Can't believe that. There's something else back there that hits me. Okay. Unfortunately, 1-2-1 did not really work this game. This was a really bad team, though. Oh, I meant to hit with an L. There you go. Yeah. Bad team. But this is why we're playing on my press account, because it doesn't matter when I get a bad team. I don't know why Wargaming took away 1 degree of gun depression on the 1-2-1. We'd actually had that extra degree. Probably could have done a little bit better. To be fair, we still did 3,300 damage combined, which is totally fine. I mean, I supported my Yag Tiger, gave him shots, and even though he wasn't the best player, he did help me. It's more players like this Yag Panzer who, yeah, and players like the 62A. Not really sure what our 62 is doing. Let's try one more game in this, then we'll do the Super Conk. How can I tune with you? Donate. What's the easiest tank to play, in your opinion? The mouse! No, I hate the frickin' mouse. The mouse likes big schlong. Easiest tank to play? Bum bum bum. I feel like it would have to be a pretty basic heavy. Maybe the E5. That's a pretty basic tank. Kron's pretty easy to play as well, as long as you understand hold down positions. In general, tanks that are easy to play are ones that don't have anything complicated about them. Okay. You're the Kron, very cool. I'm so proud of you that you tunneled me. If you want my schlong, you can let me know. I always love when people, like, openly admit, I tunneled you! It's not a very impressive thing to admit. Dang it. I got a bunch of no camo teammates here. I'm spotted. 410. That would be a 40.05. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to. Yeah, okay. I didn't mean to tunnel you. I didn't mean to type it in chat. Oh, it was an accident, bro. I accidentally pressed the fire button at your face. Like, what? Mother. Alright, there you go. One nice shot. This is where the 1-2-1 pops off here. Of course. Yeah, this is definitely where the 1-2-1 feels really nice. Hmm. Yeah, you gonna focus me? Of course you are. Good job. Good job. It's 100% that E100's fault. Okay, let me guess. It's the 4005? Of course it is. Of course it is. Nothing I could have done. Well, it looks like the 121 is not going to be giving us an enjoyable experience today. Unfortunately, these teams are pretty bad. Am I now running reactive? Well, it wouldn't have mattered in this game. Grill is easy, bruh. Grill is a tank. Well, rip. Yeah, I do like the 121, but unfortunately, it is a, there's really nothing to say. I mean, when your team's this bad, there's nothing you can do. You got a Waffenträger who has no camo. You have no support on the medium flank. It's just not really possible to do much when you're thrown into a situation like that. And the enemy 4005 is getting away with just sitting on the medium flank for free, so, oh well. The funniest part is I couldn't even spot the 4005. They were shooting me and they weren't even detected. Like, that's just crazy. But, like, when you have to throw away medium flank, it's just pretty tragic. Thank you for the donation. Super conk.
At Dan Kubanski 7,442 donated £5 through Super Chat. Black Prince please dude heart.
Yeah, I don't really, also thank you. I will do the Black Prince. But I don't really like Yamato at all. I don't mind it in a heavy tank, but I absolutely hate it in a medium. And the major reason why is because when you're in a medium, you are so reliant on the matchmaker. Like in that game, for example, I'm placed against one other medium, and that medium's deciding to play aggressive. Problem is, I don't have gun depression to work any of the ridges. And not only that, but because their 4005 decided to go to the medium flank, there was literally nothing I could have done. So I was screwed right from the get-go on the medium flank. That forces me to drive my medium to flat ground, heavy terrain, and that's where it just falls apart immediately. So it's really unfortunate when you get thrown into a situation like that, and there's really nothing you can do about it. I feel like the Rhino and STB1 are pretty beginner-friendly tanks. Personally, I don't like them for how easy they are to play. I feel like the 590 is a good tier 8 for starters. Well, 590 costs money, so I wouldn't recommend that one. In general, I don't think the STB one... Oh, I had a burp there. I don't think the STB one is the best beginner tank. I would definitely recommend more E50M M48 Patton, mainly because of the fact they're just more forgiving. They have more armor, they have more pushing potential, they have better gun depression capabilities as well. I mean, sure, the STB's got 11 degrees, but in terms of actual armor, I'd still say the M48 Patton is more on a ridgeline. Not to mention the DPM and everything else. But if we're talking about beginner tanks, I would always go for heavies. Heavies are always going to be the best beginner tanks. The Rhino, maybe, but the Rhino doesn't really have good armor. You need tanks that are fairly well armored. The Minnow is probably a much better beginner tank than the Rhino. Yes, the Minnow has a reserve shell, but as I've said on the chat before, if you're too stupid that you can't figure out how the reserve shell mechanic works, then at the end of the day, it's really not going to be the tank that's causing the problems. Okay, that shell went so far off where I aimed, it was actually pretty crazy. Okay, well, I'm sorry, Mr. Ooh. You spin me right round, baby, right round, like a record, baby, right round, right round. I'm sorry, Oof. Your game is unfortunately over, although I didn't even do much to you, so... Big rip, I guess. Just classic Blitz gameplay here. That's why Middleburg is one of the most unenjoyable maps ever, because if you go up the hill, you just get screwed. The nice thing, though, is because I'm on my press account, as I said, it doesn't really matter how much damage I deal. Not able to hesh the 183, but... Yeah, this is what happens when you play on this map. It's just one team steamrolls the hill, and that's about as exciting as it gets. So now I have to turn around and head all the way back.
$2 through Super Chat. STG guard my favorite tier 8.
My nose is itchy. You ever get one of those itches on your nose where it's like, it's there, but you also don't, like, have a full-on itch? Okay, there you go. Nice 390. Honestly, best beginner tank in tier 10 is probably the Super Conk. I really can't name a tank more brain dead than the Super Conqueror, but it costs money, and I don't consider tanks that cost money good for beginners because you don't want to spend money on this. Oh, the game just crashed. Great. The game literally just crashed. That's amazing. Wow, we love World of Tanks Blitz. This is why I just, okay. Wow. Great. Great. Truly amazing. That's, that is truly amazing. Once again, this is why we're playing on my press account. Oh, we're back, and I have no health. Great. Well, we didn't die. We didn't die. And we did almost 3K. Great. So well optimized. Yeah, Blitz is a very, very optimized game. It's not my PC, it's Blitz. I can tell you that for a fact. Well, we did okay. Best game in the world, indeed. Indubitably, good sir. Indubitably. Alright, let me go into the tier 7. The Black Prince. I want to play in the White Prince. Or is that one wargaming? Okay, let's see. So we have to do the STG Guard. And by the way, it's not just your favorite tier 8. It's actually also one of my favorite tier 8s. I really, really enjoy it. Will Chieftain get buffed? I'm pretty sure it's already confirmed to be getting buffed. If you happen to watch my video breaking into the World of Tanks Blitz patch notes, you know that. Finally a better mood than marking streams ruin you? Well, I have put together some evidence, and I've already recorded the video, but my thought process to why marking tanks has made me so angry is not actually because of the marking themselves, it's because of the fact that people are going out of the way to try and tunnel or ruin my experience. I have marked 10 tanks in total so far, and 4 of those 10 tanks I ended off live stream to finish the marking because I either didn't want to continue streaming that's okay. Alright. But yeah, I ended off the live stream for 4 of those 10 tanks. And after ending off the stream for all 4 of those vehicles, I was able to successfully finish the 3 marking in less than... Actually, can I cross this? We're going to find out. But I was able to finish the 3 markings after ending off my streams easily every single time within an hour. So with that thought process, I've concluded that the reason I've been... Okay. G-Source trying to HE me. Ow. But the reason I've concluded, the real reason I've had so much pain is because of the fact that people are trying to ruin my games. So starting now on my live streams, when I try to 3 mark, I'm going to be setting 3-minute live stream delays. And not only that, but I'm also going to be, does that thing reload that? No. Okay. Okay, nice. Shark gets shot. But yeah, basically I'm going to be setting 3-minute delays on my live streams now because of that. So we'll see. We shall see what happens. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So, okay, apparently that one bounces. Nice, you're cooked, dude. You're absolutely cooked. This is where the DPM of the Black Prince goes burr. Okay, there's 1 pen into your hatch, and 2 pens. Imagine being in a tier 8 heavy and losing to a Black Prince. That's pretty tragic, my guy. It is such a good example, though, of where the Black Prince is actually insane. I love this tank, I really do. The DPM on this vehicle is one of the best reasons why it's so fun. Oh, well, nothing I can do about that. I didn't realize that my teammate who was fighting him died. But yeah, the DPM on the Black Prince is so fun. I mean, the fact that I can literally kill a tier 8... is pretty crazy when you think about it. 3 minutes. Thanks, stream snipers. Yep, you can thank the stream snipers. Yeah, literally on the mouse stream alone, there was somebody called Nagger, Nagger, in the Concept 1B, and I got them probably 30 out of the 70 games I played. And literally in the video I recorded yesterday, they openly admitted in the game chat after I finished my stream that they were purposely trying to ruin my games. Now, it was obvious, but the fact that they even openly admitted it just shows, like, the actual state of the situation. And not only that, there was another player, somebody, Fish the Hivening or something like that, who was also probably in about 15 to 20 of my games. So in total, I had probably about 60 to 70 games played where there were people trying to purposefully ruin my experience.
Tom Linus donated $4.99 through Super Chat. Might needs to add Peter's no backseat gaming rule as well.
Oh, yeah. But yeah, essentially, we are going to be having a 3-minute delay. And because of that, it's going to be a little bit less cohesive for the stream chat. I normally have no delay on my streams, but basically what's been happening here is, as I said, people are just purposely trying to get into my battles and ruin my experience. So because of that, I'm going to be setting stream delays now. And I bet you that I'm going to be having a much better experience. Because as I said, every single time I end off stream, I'm able to 3-mark my tanks easily. My mouse alone, I went 55% in total in the 80 or so games it took me to 3-mark. And what's funny is that after I ended off the stream, I won 9 out of the 10 games I played. So it's not a coincidence. It really isn't. When I'm streaming, you're getting people that are purposefully trying to get into my games and ruin the experience. And because the NA server is so small, it's very easy to do so. And
KK donated
that's just how it is.
99 through Super Chat. Sorry Droodles for mouse request. Play Cran.
Thank you for the donation. But yeah, that's basically as simple as it is. So probably in about 50 of the games I played yesterday, there were people that were purposefully trying to ruin my experience. So because of that, I'm setting a stream delay, and if it continues happening, then I just won't stream 3 marks.
442 donated £5 through Super Chat. Chieftain T95, please.
Thank you for the donation. Yeah, KK, I think you owe me like $100 for that mouse stream. Okay. What do you think about the Caro changes? I prefer the less DPM, higher alpha. Well, the Caro is going to be overpowered. What do you mean, oh, Droodles again? Why? You know that I'm in tier 8. You're watching my stream, dude. Stop trying to act like you're... This is what I mean, though, guys. This is exactly what I'm talking about. This is the person who was in stream chat before in the cron who said, I'm gonna kill you! And now they've somehow magically managed to get into my tier 8 game? Yeah, I don't think that that's a coincidence, dude. I don't. Yes, I know it's me. Fun fact, I know when I'm myself. Thank you for reminding me I'm Droodles. Point being, it's not a coincidence when you get these people in your games repeatedly. So because of that, I have to start setting 3-minute delays, because people like this... Yes, you did! Stop lying! Stop lying. Point being, people like him are why I have to set 3-minute delays. Because even if it's not somebody purposefully trying to ruin my experience, all it takes is one person to be like, oh my god, it's Droodles, and then go out of their way to try and shoot me, you know? That's all it takes. That's all it takes. So this is why I will have to set 3-minute delays. I'm gonna chill here, and probably gonna actually drive off the cliff. You already reported those stream snipers to Wargaming? I did, but honestly I don't think Wargaming will do much, even if I do report them. Mainly down to the fact that you can't really ban somebody for just tunneling you. You know what I mean? So, I mean, the one person openly admitting that they were doing it, yeah, I can probably get that account banned. But when it comes to, like, the people who are not saying that, it's going to be very hard to actually get them banned when they're not really, they're just going out of their way to tunnel me, if you catch my drift. I don't know if you can really ban someone for tunneling you. Man, the STG is so nice. The fact that I'm repeatedly hitting these shots is insane. Because those are not easy shots to hit. My RNG never works. Brother, do you want me to kill you? Is that what you want, Smasher Guy? I hate wasting my shot on people that are so freaking stupid. Like, dude, you're in my clan. I'm trying to shoot the Skoda, but because you make me waste my 400 alpha shot on you, I now get no damage into that player. You effectively did nothing but annoy me. Congratulations. Why do we do this? You have so many options on the battlefield, and your decision is, I know what I'm going to do. I'm going to kill myself to Droodles for no reason. Again, this is what I mean. This is what I mean. Like, you get people who just, for some reason, go out of their way to annoy you. Even if they're in your own clan. Is it a coincidence that somebody from my clan gets into my battle? Probably not. Now, the thing that I love about the STG is how low down it is. It allows you to poke positions like this without actually exposing your tank. But, game's cooked, of course. STG is poor pen? Not really. It's just, it's average is really the best way to describe it. I do really like the STG, but unfortunately when you get teams like this, there's just not much you can do. Okay. Apparently, tapping the tortoise killed me. So what was I going to read? I agree that stream snipers were affecting some of your games, but I think the bigger factors were actually the teams and tanks picked. Most of them were not fun, picked even before marks. Yeah, but as I said, it's not a coincidence the moment I end my stream and I instantly 3-mark my vehicles. I already, as I said, had a Concept 1B who got into about 30 of my games. Every time he was on my team, he'd specifically leave me on the heavy flank alone, and every time he was on the enemy team, he'd go out of way trying to tunnel me. Like, it's not a coincidence. When you have a player that does that, even if it only lowers my performance by 10%, when you add 30 games, that's 300% performance taken away from me. And when every single battle is crucial to getting your gun mark, all it takes is games like that to ruin your experience and not achieve the gun mark. That's as simple as it is. And that wasn't the only person. As I said, there was also somebody in a Hovery that was also trying to ruin my game. So when you have that happening, and there's probably countless other people that are also trying to ruin my experience, what I'm probably going to end up doing is I'm going to put my alt account in Mystic. And I'm just going to give my account name a random player number. And then I'm also going to make it so that I'm no longer in Mystic, so that it doesn't show my clan profile as being in Mystic. It'll be a random account name, and I'll set a 3-minute delay. And that way nobody will know it's me. They'll just see a random player number. They'll see nobody in Mystic, and it'll be impossible for them to know it's me. And then, when that happens, it'll be a much better experience. That's what I used to do in the past, is I used to set my account name to player number. On my press account, I don't mind if people know it's me. But on my main account, I just don't know why Wargaming can't add the anonymizer. I really don't. But yeah, I kind of got sidetracked when I was talking about the Caro. The Caro is getting buffed next update. The vehicle is... Also, thank you for the donations, everyone. The Caro is getting buffed next update, because while it's losing 20 alpha, it's gaining about 300 DPM on one shell alone, not to mention all the other shells as well that it's gaining DPM on. So in general, the Caro is just getting flat buffed in every single regard. And the only real downside is a slightly lesser clipping potential. So, when you think about it, the Caro is literally just going to be flat better. Not to mention, it's also getting more turret armor. I feel like the concept will become so toxic. It will be. Wargaming just continuously perpetuates the auto-loader issue in Blitz. Speed. Let's go this way. Mark E6, my last say. I will mark the E6 at some point, but we're not doing it today. I'm probably going to wait for it to get nerfed before I mark it. because then the average XP requirement will probably go down. I don't want to break my back trying to mark a tank, as I said, when people are trying to tell me to go out of their way. Alright, let's see. We have the Kampfpanzer. I don't have too much support here. I'm not really worried about the Kron. There you go, nice. Easy shot into the 75. You spin me right round, baby, right round like a record. Yeah, the thing about the okay. I like how that Kampfpanzer just gets to drive over the ridge for free, and our team won't do anything about it. Literally just classic blitz there. This is one of those games where it's kind of hard to have fun because your entire team has decided that they don't want to do anything on the medium flank. This is a pretty awful team, actually. Push A? Yeah. Yeah, dude. It's a little too late. It's already over. You guys have thrown this game. Because I've backed up, and now you got nobody holding mid. And I'm not wasting my time. I'm not. I am not a fool. I will not throw my game away because you guys didn't want to do your jobs. Yeah, Kampfpanzer. Oh, great. We got the Sheridan. There you go. Nice shot. But yeah, this is what happens when you instantly lose a game. When your team throws medium flank, just like this, it's done. Because now you have a completely surrounded, right? We got nobody doing anything at base C because they're useless. And the mediums just completely dominate over here. And it's done. This is what happens. This is how you instantly lose a game. I don't really care. It's not my job. On my press account, as I said, it doesn't really matter whether I win or lose, but this is how you instantly lose games, is you get situations like this. It's very, very basic, but it is the truth. 1, 2, and 3. That E5 is about as dumb as a doornail. Can't believe he hit that, but we've already done 2,500. Brought a full health E5 to 450 HP. Reloading. 3, 2, 1. Boom. No big ol' splash with the HE. But yeah, this was a pretty unwinnable game. It would not have mattered what tank I was in, what play I made. This would always have been a loss. IS-7 gets heshed. I think the best play to make is to drive this way, reload on the Kampfpanzer, get 1 pen, and get 2 pens. And just like that, the game is indeed Jover. Now, the Kron is a very easy tank, even when you have a terrible team to do well in. And we lived. But yeah, it was a pretty bad team. Is the Kron worth it? I see little difference from the Emil 2. There's actually quite a big difference from the Kron and the Emil 2. And it doesn't take a rocket scientist to figure out. You want to see the difference? Let's figure out the difference. Okay, let's start off with the Emil 2. You ready? Alright, here's the Emil 2. Okay. This is what 300 millimeters of heat pen looks like on the Emil 2 turret. This is what 340 mils of heat pen looks like on the Emil 2 turret on flat ground, okay? This is what it looks like with gun depression. At max gun depression, your armor is about 370 to 360. Alright, now let's compare that to the Kron. Let's compare that to the Kron. This is what 350 millimeters of armor looks like all down. This is what 350 millimeters of pen looks like on flat ground. See a difference there? I do. Also, if you don't see a difference between these vehicles on their statistics, you are, I don't know, not able to read? Dude, it's 2,700 DPM on the Kron versus the Emil's 2,200 DPM. That's a 500 damage per minute increase. What are we talking about? Doesn't take a rocket scientist to look at the DPM and to look at the armor and be like, whoa, the Kron's better. Now, the Emil 2 has some advantages. On single shot, yes, the Emil 2 has about the same DPM. But in terms of actual DPM, the Kron on its single shot has 2,700 with flat better armor. So, not really sure what thought process we're getting up. Yeah, and the interclip. 3.5 seconds versus 2.7. There's like so many advantages on the Kron versus the Emil 2. It's not even close. Like, don't get me wrong. I think the Emil 2 is a great tank, and I think it's actually one of the best tier 9s. Let's do the Emil 2, and then we'll do the Chieftain. I think the Emil 2 is great, but I think saying that the Emil 2 doesn't have any advantages or disadvantages versus the Kron is a little weird. Not gonna lie. They should give the mouse a 4-shot auto reloader. Colabar, Kolar Bor, I swear. Listen, if you want big schlong, just let me know. As much as I want the mouse to be buffed, that is not the way to buff it. TVP is getting butchered as well. I don't really think the TVP is getting butchered, to be honest. It's getting... How many games do you play in the TVP where you're actually able to deal a full clip's worth of damage? Honestly, very few. And because of that, it doesn't really make a difference. The vehicle's getting more damage in a shorter amount of time. And not only that, it's gaining DPM. So sure, it's losing the 1200 clipping potential, but in return, it's now gaining interclip, it's gaining DPM, and it's gaining alpha. It's going to be able to deal, what, 960 or 990 damage? I don't remember what the exact damage was, but it's going to be able to deal like 900 something damage in 3 seconds. Like, that's crazy. I actually don't think it's getting nerfed at all. I think that there are people who will read those stats and think it's a nerf, but I don't think so. I think gaining DPM, it's going to be a Skoda T27, essentially. And I think that that's going to make it really, really scary. Are those real guns in the back? Indeed they are. In America, you can own guns. Interesting. We have the FEE Defender, which... Okay, thank you, RNG. Thank you very much. Oh, what the heck, brother? What the heck? What am I looking at? Well, get one shell into the enemy gonk, and they bounce me. That was the worst shot ever for me. I always love when you get YOLO'd by players like this gonk for no reason. Alright, here's my thought process. We need to reload. Big time here. I should not have fired that second shell, though. That was on me. But we got to reload big time. And then once we get our shells, we can deal with the gonk. Come on, a little bit longer. Okay, we get the bounce from the Waffenträger. 3, 2, 1. Alright. There's 1 pen into the gonk. And 2 pens into the gonk. And 3 pens into the gonk. Now, we do have the WT on me. But I'm still probably dead because my team is refusing to help me. And there's nothing I can do when they do that, you know. We will kill the gonk. I still got the last laugh, but there's only so much I can do when I got the Waffenträger on me now. I'll just keep sitting here. Actually, I'm not dead yet. Goodbye. Yeah, we actually lived. I made the right play. The position I put myself in was really good because it allowed me to spot the enemy, and it allowed me to distract them, which gave our team a pretty good advantage. There you go. Nice 447. Not running Spall Liner, of course. Then we back up. Up to 2,200 damage. Put on my Reticle Cali just so I can guarantee the shot. And take the Waffenträger out of the game. I thought we were cooked, but no, we actually brought it back. The gonk.
_HV3ZV donated 5 Singapore dollars through Super Chat. A special request for Droodles. Play the 5A for 3 games.
What is 5 Singapore dollars worth to USD? Let's see. $3.84. And the Singapore dollar is pretty strong. I'm not surprised. It is a very, very strong economy. Thank you for the donation. Singapore would be a cool place to live. Am I going hunting? Or do I go hunting? No, I don't hunt. Chieftain T95. Thought Kron had more than 2,200 hit points. I can't tell if Dragon's joking or not, but I'm gonna assume he is. Alright, where is the, what was I playing in? Oh yeah, the Chieftain. There you go. But yes, what the heck am I... It's a paper bag. Indeed, These are real guns. I don't think there's any ammo in them. No. I don't leave most of my guns loaded, but they are real guns, as you can see, which is pretty cool. Gonna not have the lever cock, though. Put it in half. Half cock. Ugh. Okay, there you go. That's good. Blicky. Yeah, we got the Blicky. Okay, apparently this tank's traverse speed is awful. Hello, is anybody there? Hello, anybody there? Not seeing anyone yet. I thought you were playing in the Kron, just realized it was the Emil too. Yeah, Dragon, the Kron is 2,600-ish health if you're running sandbags. I think it's 2,400. The lowest health you'll find on any heavy base Dragon is 2,400. I think that's like Chieftain hit points. I think the 113 may have gotten a slight hit point buff. But in general, most of the tier 10s are like 2390. I think that's like, that is the utmost lowest you'll find for a tier 10 heavy in terms of hit points. We got the LT. Now, the thing about the Chieftain is that it's actually got a really nice gun. Accuracy-wise, it's great, and DPM-wise, it's really good. So, when you pair those two things together, it does allow this vehicle to actually be quite confident. You can see the pen there as well. The AP pen is quite nice, going right through the WZ's armor at almost every angle. Let me guess, it's the 7.52? No, it's not. I don't actually know what shot me. But that player's dead. Oh, you know what? It's probably, maybe the TL7. Yeah, it is the TL7. Okay. Haven't seen the Chieftain Proto being played in a while. That's because nobody has it. Trolliga, notice how I'm just like not replying to you. It's pretty cool, isn't it? I just don't reply to people that I don't care about. So you can type all the comments you want, and I'm going to ignore you every single time. Dang. I think he hatched me. Yep, he did hatch me. Indubitably. Nice. We hatched him back, though. The thing about this tank is it does actually have really good accuracy, as I said, so it's very reliable to hit hatch shots. Its premium pen isn't anything crazy, but it's enough to get the job done. Nice little ram. I wish the TL7 was a little bit better, I'm gonna be honest. Bonk. Not a bad game at all. Not a bad game at all. 2,900 damage, we got a kill, and yeah. I hate how the Skoda T27 is getting put up a tier. I agree. It is kind of cringe. I don't know why Wargaming's doing that. I don't know why. Alright, what's next? WAP PC has heavy tanks with 2,200 base. Yeah, it's depending on their play style. Like, vehicles that are lightly armored in the heavies class usually have less health. Vehicles that are heavily armored, like the ST2, have like 2,700 base health. So, really depends on what type of tank you're driving. But in Blitz, the lowest health you're going to find for a heavy tank base is vehicles like the Concept 1B, which is sitting at 2,440. Vehicles like the M6 Yo are pretty low on hit points at 2,392. I'm pretty sure 2,392 is the lowest health you'll find for any heavy tank. The 260 is 2400. Yeah. Chieftain Mark 6 I also think is 2392. Oh, 2444. Yeah, but they're all around that area. 2400 to 2392. Alrighty. How much else does the Rhino have? Where did the Rhino go? It was right there. I lost it. Where did the Rhino go? There it is. Yeah, the Rhino has 2500. It doesn't deserve 2500, but it does get 2500. Alright. I'm gonna do the Rheinmetall Panzerwagen because somebody asked. And then I'll do the 5A. Both of Auto Reloaders, Lion and Carl got a DPM buff and turret buff. I think the Lion buff is incredibly stupid. I think that Wargaming is actually moronic for doing that change. Grr. Weird, you got into my game again. What a shocker. Do we pick tank through donations? I mean, if you want a tank guaranteed to be played, yes. But I randomly pick tanks after the donations are over. Good job, Sheridan. You actually lost that trade, and now you're dead. Good job, dude. That's the average NA player right there. See, if I was on my main account and I was grinding marks, I'd be very, very frustrated right now. But because I'm not grinding marks, I don't really care. Of course they have the E3 camping on the ridgeline. Of course they do. Dang, if I was able to just hit the E3, I would have been able to spot them for 20 seconds. Doesn't really matter, though. They're cooked anyway. Oh, maybe not, because for some reason they have 18 billion tanks in their spawn. You spin me right round, baby, right round like a record, baby. Nice. 260's armor is so useless. I mean, the fact that a tier 10 light can just go right through it with gold is... it's pretty tragic. It's why I will never, ever care for the 260. Because, while it does have some strengths, it's also completely balanced out by terrible weaknesses. Okay. I also don't really like the Rheinmetall Panzerwagen, and that right there is why. Gotta put on my reactive just in case the enemy tries to nuke me. Okay. Everybody just wants a piece of me, I guess. But yeah, I don't really love this tank because the gun isn't good. The gun is the most defining factor of a vehicle, and when the gun can't even pen the lower plate of an E3, I'm probably not going to love the tank that much, I'm going to be totally honest. It's not a bad tank, it's just, I really wish that its gun hit its shots reliably, and yeah, that's about it. I did fine, though. 3,143 damage. And we did win, so not a bad game at all. Dang. Last one. Thank you for the donation. I do like the look of the Rheinmetall, though. It looks really cool.
At Dan Kubanski 7,442 donated £10 through Super Chat. Last one. Please camp sponsor 70 red heart. Rare I get to catch a pick tank live stream grin.
Thank you for the donation. Alright, I'm going to do the 5A, and then we'll do these other donations. These other donations. Okay. 5A. Battle. I get a vote. If I got a vote, play tier 7 Aufladungs Panzer Panther. I like you typed that whole thing out. You could have just typed in awful Panzer. Isn't Cloth Panzer 07 a modern tank? Maybe? I don't know. It doesn't look very modern to me. Hello, Burger King bag cat. Oh my god, not the Starope. Please don't donate for me to play that thing. It's so mid. It's not a bad tank, it's just mid. The fact that Wargaming is trying to sell it in crates for hundreds of dollars is insane for how absolutely mundane the thing is. Hello, Progetto. Bonk. I love the 5A. The gun on this thing is just so nice. There you go. Nice 440 into the Yag. Instead of 705A or 277 or Stridgemon, we get hybrid tech tree. Yeah, the hybrid tech tree is definitely a little weird, I will agree. Will the Progetto do anything? Make your bets in the comments. Nope. Dang. Bonk. This is where the 5A just dominates. When you're able to hide your lower plate like this and, you know, have this perfectly aligned stature, this tank just feels so nice. Problem is, don't know if they have a Yag back there or not. I can't really do anything. Yep, there it is. Not too surprising, I have to say. You spin me right round, baby, right round, like a record, baby, right round, right round. Nice. I mean, do you see how nice the 5A gun is? It's just so good. There's not many heavies I can name where the gun, like, reliably just snaps those shots. Look at that. Every shot, just hit, hit, hit. It's so nice. This is why the 5A was one of my favorite tanks to 3 mark, because it was actually quite easy, to be honest. There you go. Nice shot into the E5. Not really sure why the E5's trying to trade with me, judging that I'm literally more health. I have more... Well, I don't know if I have more DPM, but I have similar DPM. And your tank reverses at, like, -2. There you go, another easy shot. Yeah, that was not a very good play there, E5. That was not a very good play. Alright, we have the Minotauro over here. The Minotauro. I bet you my Italian viewers are not... I bet you my Italian viewers love when I say Minotauro. The carro. All of my Italian viewers are just busting a nut. Let's see if the E50 is over. Oh, no, not the E50, the Błyskawica. That was like the most important shell out of all of them, and it just went... What do you think about climbs? Do you do them? What do you mean climbs? Oh, I was not paying attention. That was a bad shot for me. I shouldn't have done that. It should be okay. But our team, unfortunately, is not doing very good. Yeah. Oh well. E50's dead either way. It is just so stupid how the E50 just out DPMs you, though. Why does that tank get 3,400 DPM? Doesn't make sense. It really doesn't. There you go, nice 414. Błyskawica misses me. And we're going to aim it on the Waffenträger. There you go, nice 580. Then we're going to back off. Reload! No! No! Dang it, dude. Dang it. Why'd the guy die? I could have actually won that. Dang. Well, we did 5,600 damage. Well. Oh well. It was close. I'm also not sure how that Waffenträger didn't kill me. 49% and you've 2-marked it? Bruh. What are the marking requirements of that thing? They gotta be awful. Oh yeah, wait, how many games? How many games until I'm at 100k on my main account? I need to check that. The F am I listening to? The Minotauro. The Carro. Okay, what was I gonna do? Oh yeah, my account. I have in my career... That's not correct. I have more than 93. Oh, wait, that's not adding tournament games. Bruh. Somebody go check my main account. Actually, I can probably check it here. Wait. Let me see how many... I need to make a video when I reach 100,000 battles. Poop Master... There it is. 99,297. We're close! We are very, very close to 100,000 battles. We are so close, guys. We'll get there. We will get there. Feel like this... You asked me about climbs. With climbs, I meant like climbing, for example. Like the RHM up a hill where other tanks can't go. Oh. I thought you meant climbing as in like climbing a mountain in real life. No, I don't usually do climbing. I don't find it too engaging. I feel like season tanks like the Magnate are forgotten. Barely anyone plays those tanks. I think the Magnate actually has a decent amount of players just because it is kind of overpowered. But yeah, like the E10, nobody gives a crap. Should I get Lion for $45? I don't think it's a terrible deal, but I also don't think it's a great deal. Alright, let me do the 777. Thank you for the donation. Le 777. And then we have the Kampfpanzer 70. There's this one guy in the NA server with legit 80k games in the E100. Bruh. There's somebody with a Peace Saver. Just Google, or don't Google, but go into BlitzStars and type in Peace Saver. He has like 130k games in the 57 Heavy. It's crazy. We fought him yesterday on live stream. I guess we'll go town. Oh my god, the guy with the Helsing games? Yeah, frickin' Sergeant Rock or whatever. Which tank is your favorite? I don't have an overall favorite, but right now my favorite tier 10 is still probably the BZ-75. I do like the 116 F3, but I think the comp player spamming the tank to all hell has definitely taken away a bit of my enjoyment in the vehicle. There's one pen. Well, you know what tank I do want to 3-mark is the 268 version 4. I had the choice of going for the Type 68 or the 183. And you guys can guarantee I'm going to go for the 183 when I can. Surprised that guy penned me. Must have gone through my turret. It was a heat shell he fired. The 777 is such a good tank. I do consider the 777 to be better than the 113 personally. Just because it features very similar capabilities with better armor and more alpha. Which is weird, because the 777 has a much, much lower requirement of XP to 3-mark. Goodbye. But yeah, I think the 777 is great. What tech tree nation do you think deserves a new line? Well, we just got a Japanese tier 10 super heavy, so we don't need a new Japanese tank. We don't need any new European nations. I think the Soviets need a new line. When's the last time we've got a new Soviet tank? T-100, I think. When are we going to get the 705 or the ST-2? Those are both vehicles that I've wanted in Blitz forever, and we have never, ever gotten them. I also think Sweden should get its own own nation branch. I would love to see Sweden get a I'd love to see the UDES come into the game. Nice, 538 max roll into the E50. This is where the 777 seriously just dominates. Like, the accuracy of this vehicle is also pretty good. Okay, apparently the T-22 pens me at that angle, guys. My bad. I don't even know how that T-22... Oh my god, they hit that corner? Are you serious? That's wild. Oh, they didn't pen that one. Goodbye. Oh, now we got an E5 on us. But yeah, you can see, like, side scraping in this vehicle. You can get really good bounces, which is quite nice. Goodbye. Anybody else? We're up to 4,200 already. 3 mark the Type 5. I already did. Oh, dang. Poland deserved its own branch. How many tanks are in the Poland tree? Yeah, that's right. Can't shoot me. El Bozo. El Bozo. Yep, that's what I thought. That shell did not go where I aimed, but we still hit it. We're up to 5,000 damage now. Just such a good example of where the 777's a beast. Guaranteed an ace. You does 15-16 and Stridzvan are so good. Even eye-pleasing? What? Bro Jork into a tank? Do you think adding double barrels would hurt Blitz? Not double barrels like the Elzinger Solier, but the Russian heavies? Yeah, the ST2. No, I don't think it would hurt Blitz. I think if they're balanced properly, they'd be fine. Like, the PC tanks are balanced properly. They deal 800 and... Like, I don't think a vehicle dealing... Like, let's say it's got a double shot 420 Alpha that you can shoot with a salvo. It would take 3 seconds to do it, because just like PC, you have to hold the fire button, and then it starts a countdown, 1, 2, 3, and then it shoots all the shells at once. So, I don't think it would be overpowered. We already have tanks like the M5 which are able to deal 900 damage in 1.72 seconds. So if the salvo took 3 seconds, I mean, a 57 Heavy, for example, can deal 800 damage in, what, like 1.72 seconds, I think it is, with shell reload boost. So I really don't think that the salvo ability would be too overpowered, as long as the tank had balanced DPM and capabilities. Okay. That pen wouldn't have happened on a 113. No, it probably wouldn't have, but I do still like the 777 more than the 113. The 113 is nice because it's got the mobility, but in terms of armor, the 777 is just definitely more reliable. The turret armor might be a little worse on the 777, but overall side scraping and just troll armor is much nicer on this tank. I would say the gun is arguably better due to the accuracy and alpha damage, and the DPM is basically the same, so... Especially because this tank's getting AP next update. When is the next 3 mark stream? Probably tomorrow. Okay, I have to do the Kampfpanzer 70. Okay. I don't know why I'm on tier 10. Kampfpanzer 70 is a tier 9. I am going to 3 mark this tank pretty soon, because it's going to be a tier 10 soon, and it would be a lot smarter to 3 mark it now than when it becomes a tier 10. Do you think Blitz will see tier 11s at some point? Yes. I think the armor's actually better on the 113 overall because the tank has better traverse, so it's much more usable. It depends. The 113 can't poke around corners, and that's the biggest problem I have with it. You can't roll around a corner because your tracks just stick out so much. And not only that, but you can just pen the upper plate with AP. Like, if you told me, would you rather go up against a 113 or a 777, I'd much rather fight a 113. I just don't find 113s challenging to... Okay. Really? Dude hits that? Like, bruh. I made a bad play. I should have gone wide. I was reading chat and I wasn't really paying attention where I was going, but it's fine. As I said, we're on a press account, so it doesn't really matter. But yeah, if you told me I had to fight one of the two, I'd definitely pick the 113. I just don't find 113s to be an intimidating tank. Love to see tanks with different guns or interesting mechanics. Well, we got the Błyskawica, which is a very interesting vehicle. I do think the Błyskawica is arguably one of the hardest tanks to 3 mark. Can't hit that. Bro, what is this game? My nose is so itchy. can't side scrape the 113 since your upper plate doesn't matter. I mean, you can side scrape. It's pretty good at side scraping. You can't poke with the 113 is the problem. That's where it falls apart, is when you're trying to, like, poke the enemy. It just doesn't do much. Bro, what is this game? These are the kind of battles that just make me question what's going on. Because I drive my tank to the heavy flank, nobody's there. The entire enemy team's over at base A, which is, like, usually the most useless spot to go. But, of course, works out for them this time. Oh my god, what am I looking at? Now, the thing about the Kampfpanzer is that it has arguably one of the most accurate high alpha guns in tier 10. Or 9, but it will be tier 10, but I consider this thing legitimately a tier 10 with how good it is. Don't know if that penned, but it did. Yeah, the Kampfpanzer gun is crazy good. Kampfpanzer needs an accuracy buff. It definitely doesn't. In fact, I literally just said it is one of the most accurate guns. A gun that has this much alpha damage does not deserve this much accuracy. I really don't think so. Really? 23 damage to the track? Like, are we serious, game? Great. Is this really the play you want to make, T100? This is the play that we want to make. Like, really. That's what you thought was a good play. You thought about that. You said, gee, I'm going to push this guy. And, yeah, that really went well for you. I'm so grateful for your infinite wisdom, my dude. No. Alright, well, not a great team we have here. But you know what? You're cooked, my dude. Nice thing about the Kampfpanzer is that it's actually really mobile. So you're fast enough to get those clears. Come on, reload. Adrenaline away! I'm not going to HE him. I don't trust this gun's accuracy enough. And the HE alpha is only 640, so there's really no advantage to doing it. Good job, by the way, Yag. Let's drive into the water. The worst spot possible for a tank like the Yag. Okay. The one time I need the accuracy to work. Doesn't really matter anyway. Team's cooked as it is. Even though this E4 is no camo and probably like 20% win rate. Doesn't really make a difference if I drive up the ridge. I'm going to die to the K91. But if we pen this shot, we will deal over 3,000 damage. And because of that, we actually had a pretty good game. Yeah, that E4 is pretty bad. It's more impressive that our team managed to die to that E4 than anything else, if you ask me. Probably not going to be able to get the reload out now. Do you remember when the Switchman said the Kampfpanzer 70 isn't good because it's possible for it to get into tier 10 battles? Yeah, that was pretty awful. Well, not a bad game. 3,400 damage. Yeah, that was a pretty bad team. I will not lie. Italian. Okay, let's see. Let me, let me get the armor of the 113 up. I'm just pulling up, Blitz Kit. Let's see. Boom, boom, boom. Alright, here we go. Got Blitz Kit up. So let's see. Let's compare the armor of the 113 to the 777. Let's see. Alright, so here's the 777. Here's the 113. So, 777 armor, if you're in a side scrape. In general, I do find really hard to pen. Like, you can over-angle it like this, and as you can see in general, you can't really pen the sides. There are some weak points. That's where that T-22 managed to hit me. And this also here is a weak point. This over here is a weak point. But in general, it's obviously got some very troll armor because of the fact it's angled. So even at like an angle like this, you can actually still get bounces with the 777. And that's where I do find the 777 to be a lot more reliable than the 113. Because the 113, if you put it at that same angle, it's just a pen. Like, that's the difference. So that's the big, and like even with heat shells, because the 777 has spaced armor here, you can't pen it with heat. I mean, that's 3,000 millimeters of armor. Where the 113, you can load heat and you can actually pen this bar here and this. That's not mentioning premium APCR. Like if you go up against a tank that doesn't have heat and has APCR as a premium shell. Let's see. E100. I can't do the E100 because I can't swap the gun. What tank has premium APCR? VK90, here we go. But like a tank that has premium APCR, you can go right through the sides, where the 777, a tank that has premium APCR, you really can't reliably because it's still got that auto ricochet. I don't know, I just find the armor on the 777 to be a lot more troll and a lot more reliable than the armor on the 113. The hatches are smaller. Although I do consider the 113 hatches to be very, very troll. And then the upper plate of this tank, I mean, you can just go through it, like, with AP. So, I don't know. I like the 113, but I do feel like when you compare these tanks, just the 777 usually does better. And if you go to, like, the compare tab, and you compare the 777 and the 113... The 777 has almost the exact same DPM, only like 10 less. The alpha damage is way better. The penetration is about the same, as we can see. So it doesn't really make a difference there in terms of pen value. Shell velocity-wise, both are pretty similar. Dispersion-wise, the 777 is actually more accurate and with better on-movement dispersion. 777 does reverse slower, but in general has a much better top speed for acceleration. So it's only traverse speed it's worse. Obviously traverse speed, the 113 is way better. But like apart from that, I don't know. I just feel like the 777 is a more reliable tank. I do feel like that. I mean, at the end of the day, it shouldn't be like the 777's performing 30 less XP than the 113 on average. I think the major reason why is just because people don't play the 777 and they do play the 113 because it's a tech tree. Are there any donations I missed? No. Okay, so at this point we've done all the donations. I'll do the Stero because somebody asked for it, and why not? It's such a goofy tank. Let me make sure I've got the autoloader on it, though. We do. There you go. Oh, wait, we want 90 shells. There you have it. Alright, guys. Whoever guesses exactly how much damage I deal in this game will win a Felice. What's your opinion on account sharing? I don't really care if people account share. The only reason Wargaming doesn't want people account sharing is because they technically get less money. If you have 3 people, and they all have their own accounts, and they all want to get a premium tank, they all buy the premium tank separately. If you have 3 people sharing one account, then those 3 people can just use that premium tank when they want. That's why Wargaming doesn't like account sharing, because it means that they don't get as much money. That's the only reason why they care. Because apart from that, what would be the other reason? There is no other reason. It's because of money. That's the only reason. Looking at stats for next update, which does bring the tanks closer, but in the current relations, I think the 113 is just more balanced. Is there a change? I don't remember what changes the 113's. Isn't the 113 getting slightly more DPM? I don't remember. Also, I forgot to put speed boost on this thing. I have no equipment. The biggest disadvantage for the 777 for me is the ammo rack. I still remember when I was in a scrim and I got full health ammo racked. It was pretty tragic. You spin me round, baby, round like a record, baby. I don't know why I went this way, but I did. AE Phase 1 if you don't have it. I do have the AE Phase 1. Watch this. Boom, boom, boom. Look at that. 357. Reload. Boom, boom, boom. Oh my god, this gun is so bad.
Singapore dollars through Super Chat. A Phase 1. If you have, if not, then T30.
Oh, I still need to do that femboy stream. I forgot to do that. Bunch of people donated in the past for me to wear a frickin' femboy outfit on stream, and I forgot about it because the 3 marks got added, and I've been streaming that instead. So I do need to do that at some point. I do like the way this tank looks with the legendary camo, I will say that. It looks terrible without it, but with the legendary camo, it actually does look pretty good. Just wish it wasn't so damn slow, like, holy crap, bruh. Oof. There goes that guy. Well, we penned 1. I had a game that was 100% winnable and a 183 ammo rack me. Yeah, we love that. 183s are good for the game, dude. Soul Eater? You mean the Whole Eater?
99 through Super Chat. Soul Eater, please.
But yes, I can do this Soul Eater. Okay. Just a random 704? Like, really? Well, we just lost 1,000 of our 2,100 health. That really sucks. I'm probably cooked. I have no support. And I have a feeling that I'm going to be rushed. The only play that I can think of making is trying to bail. Yeah, we're going to be okay. I just needed to get out of there. Yes, Emil, get in my way. Almost cost me health there, Gabriel. Aiming. 1, 2, 3. Of course, he pens that. But 1, 2, 3. Well, we pen 2. This gun is just so mid. And look at the turret traverse, bro. Like, Wargaming wanted this thing to be like a super heavy, but it just doesn't have the armor of a super heavy, so you're just slow as hell. Okay. Well, nothing I could have done. I was too slow. I did 2,400 damage. Let's see if anybody guessed that. Boom, 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 boom. Nope, nobody guessed it. Not bad. Let's try one. Actually, no, we gotta do some donations. I forgot. I have to do the A phase 1. The AE phase 1. Which super heavy have the armor of a super heavy? Not many. Type 5 is decent armor. Unironically, I think the Type 71 is the most armored tank in Tier 10. 60 TP as well. I think that those tanks get more bounces than most super heavies. I do think Wargaming is planning on selling the AE Phase 1 pretty soon here. I do think so. You guys like my Watt B shirt? This tank does look really nice with PBR, I will say. Just donating requests of tanks that I know would be fun? Indubitably. I got the Skoda T50 over here, the Mouse Tank, Defender Mark 1. I'm just moving up. I'm going to play aggressive because we're top tier, and I feel like I should be able to get away with it. Of course. Of course. T-77 is such a stupid tank. Okay. Apparently nobody's going to bounce me today. I hate Defender Mark 1 players. But you know what? You're now down 800 health, so enjoy it. Okay. The fact that a tier 8 medium can just reliably chunk shells from a 380mm heat shell is just insane. Ah, bruh, this gun, it's gonna drive me wild. I like this tank, but at the same time, sometimes it can be a little bit frustrating. Bruh. It's weird because it's got a E5 gun, basically, but it just misses everything. It really does. I'm gonna head over this way and maybe get some damage into the regressor. There's 416. That guy's dead. Goodbye. We have the T-28 Defender over here. Our team is not doing very good right now. Alright, I'm going to move this way. I'm just hoping that the T-77 doesn't hit me. Okay, we get a bounce from you. Of course, the T-77 does hit me. There you go. The only other teammate I have left is the AMX-30 Proto. They also have an ISU, which I have not seen the entire game. Bruh. Of course, the T-77 plays aggressive. I thought he wasn't going to. Okay, there it is. There it is. There it is. Jose and the frickin' ISU. Cool. Whatever, dude. Frickin' hate ISUs, dude. They just ruin the game. They really do. Can't believe that that guy died. Bruh, this guy's throwing. I was kind of hoping the ISU was AFK, but obviously he wasn't. There's 445 into the T-77. Ah, good job. Now you want to run away. Oh my god, bro. I hate ISUs. I just hate ISU players. I hate them so much. I did fine. 3,600 damage. And again, it's press account, so it doesn't matter. It's just, I love the fact that you can be in a tank destroyer that has 3k DPM and 640 alpha with tier 10 levels of pen. Alrighty, what's next? The Soul Eater. Oh. Gotta go down to tier 8. Boom. Which tank is the most underrated? Let's see. I'm gonna do tier 10. I feel like the most underrated tier 10 is going to go to the Progetto 65 for me. I feel like this is a tank that most players don't consider to be that amazing, and I consider this thing to be crazy good. I also think the 5A, unironically, is an incredibly underrated tier 10. It was one of my easiest gun marks and a very fun tank to participate in. With that being said, let's make our way to the Soul Eater. Murat is underrated as well. Barely see it in games, but yeah, I always average 3,300 in it. 263? Yeah, 263 is also pretty good. It's kind of OP, actually, after they buffed the engine deck. And the weak point, which used to be the mantlet. When the 263 had its crazy good mobility back in the day, and it got buffed on the mantlet, I actually tried using it in comp. And funny enough, we actually we were in, this was when I was calling for Cease. And Cease was pretty bad, I'm going to be honest. Cease was pretty dang bad. But when I was calling for Cease, we actually had a decent chance of getting top 8, which was pretty crazy. And one of the games that we played was against Gosu. And this was when Gosu actually got top 4. And we actually used a strat with a 263 against Gosu. And we crapped on them. It was funny as hell. We absolutely dominated them. I think it was the only game we won in the set. But the fact that we beat a top 4 team with the strat shows that not everything is clear cut and dry. There's so many players that make strats that are only designed based off of, you know, what tanks are the strongest. I look at strats as what tank does best in this position. What tank is going to best suit the need of whatever that need is. And when it comes to the 263, I had it in the back. It has some of the best camo for tank destroyers. So I had it, this was years ago, by the way, but point being, if you use the strengths of a vehicle, you can do a lot better than if you just use a tank because it's a good tank. Wow, I can't believe we hit both of those shots. That's crazy. Caller in tournament means you're the person who is calling the shots. It's like the person who designs... almost. Oh, so close. It's like the person who designs the strats for like NFL stuff. There you go. All the Russians on my TikTok channel were... The issue is the strats are only good for initial positions. Oh, how did that not one pen? I design strats weird. My strats are designed for initial positions. Like, the way I kind of designed them, Dragon, and I actually showed Core them, and he agreed that they were actually pretty decent if used properly. But the way that I look at comp is more like a chess game. I try to outsmart my opponents with strats. Because, like, a lot of people, when they do strats, they design them as a placeholder, and then the moment the game actually starts, it's just all-out war, right? It's capping bases and then just eventually a push. Where I design my strats differently. I design them in a way where I'm going to try and predict what the enemy team's going to do, have the positions pre-planned, and then force the enemy to make a play based off of that. That's how I try to design my strats. So I like actually have on my strat sketches flex positions drawn for every single tank according to what the enemy team does. So like if, for example, the enemy team caps the base, I've already pre-planned the entire strat of where every tank will go based off of the brawl. And when we're up on cap, which is what 90% of the strats are based on, I'm already telling players where to go based off of cap and flex positions and everything like that. Like, that's how I try to design my strats. So, like, yeah, if you end up in a brawl, 263, probably not going to be the best tank to use in a brawl. But if you manage to get it in the right type of position, it can do really good. Well, this was a pretty good game. 4,000 damage in the Soul Eater. Okay. I think that was the last donation, right? Indeed, that was the last donation. We actually aced it. I like the Soul Eater. It's not a great tank, but the gun's pretty nice. I actually have my strat sketch. Let me see if I still have that strat. It's not like it matters anyway if people see my strats, because they are old as hell, and I don't really care about playing comp anymore. Let's see. Join briefing. I think it's new strats v2. Is it this one? Yes, it is this one. Let me get my... You probably found out from Cease that is a tall task. Yeah. I mean, honestly, Dragon, what's crazy is we did almost get top 8 in Cease. We were up against Purple for top 8. Because we knew we weren't going to beat Gosu, and the way that the comp worked was that it was like the stupid system where the last games you played were way more important than the first games you played. So for the last set, we had to beat Purple. And we lost one game, or we lost 2 games and won 1 against them. The first game we won was on Winter Mally, the strat that we used absolutely crapped on Purple. And that was this strat here. I haven't changed these strats much since then. I've changed some of the tanks out in the strats, but the strats themselves have stayed the exact same. So this strat here, when we went up against Purple, we absolutely dominated them. They played their tanks in this corner here, and when we pushed the 777s wide, we pushed the 60s here, and we completely collapsed on them, and we won by a complete landslide. It was a super, super easy victory. The second game we played, the entire reason we lost was because of this person right here. I still have my live stream up somewhere where I literally called Disfigured the worst comp player I've ever seen in my life. Everybody else was doing fine. Everybody else was following the strat to a T. You can say I also have the flex positions drawn for all these vehicles, which I explained. But this strat here, the way it works is that you have to drive the 60 TP into base B immediately if the enemy team goes here. And the way that you drive into it, I explained to the person who was driving the tank how you do it. And what ended up happening was that, as you can see, I've drawn, they're supposed to back up to this position here, because from this position, they can side scrape this corner, and they can also flex over here. The point being, from this spot, they can detect everything. They've got a good position to hold. What they ended up doing was they backed their tank up like a moron to here, to this position, because they weren't, they must have buckled under the pressure or something, and they backed up to here. And what happened was the enemy team sent 3 113s down this road and absolutely annihilated him. And because of that, we lost the base cap advantage and a full health tank. We were up on cap, the strat was going perfectly, and we lost because of that. And it really... That was the single reason why we, like, completely just lost to Purple. I was so pissed because the strat was going perfectly. We had the control over here. I knew that they were going to make a play here because of the way the strat was designed. Everything was perfect. And then our teammate backed up this way and through the entire game. It's somewhere on live stream. I showed the whole game unfold. The worst experience ever. I think we still got 10th place that season, but it was pretty tragic. The fact that we even got 10th with Cease, though, is actually a miracle. But the strat that I was talking about was Port Bay, and it's this strat here. This is the strat that we did on... Also, thank you for the donation for the bat chat. This is the strat that we beat Gosu with in the 263. I don't know why that X is there. I'm not sure what the X's are for. I must have drawn something at some point. I don't know. Oh, there you go. Trying to get rid of the X's. Okay. Either way. This strat here is the one that we beat Gosu with pretty easily. The 263 back here, the only purpose it has is to reset base C. And then you have the 60 TP, which originally sits here. You can see the line I've drawn. So the 60 originally sits here, stays hull down, spots base C, and then the 263 from back here resets the base without ever being detected. So completely it completely controls base C. And then because of that, we drive our T100 into B in a spot that you can cap the base without ever being detected. It's a little secret spot, but you can cap base B there without being detected. I showed it to Cora, and basically you capture base B immediately. You hold off base C. If the enemy does try to reset B and tries to push in, we have the 60s, which are here, and then they just flex back over here. They're haul down. This 60 just flexes it over to here, haul down, and then we have 2 tanks here, which are going to push in, and they have a window that they can shoot through. So that's kind of the way the strat works. So the 263, either way, the strat is the 263 either sits here if the enemy tries pushing up and they can't actually do anything to it, or the 263 would flex over here if the enemy team went this way, and then it would sit in the back here and cover. So the idea is with this strat is the 263 never actually has to engage in a brawl. With where it is, it's pretty safe. 268 does the same job. 268 doesn't reset the cap. That's the problem. As I said, the 263 is specifically here to reset base C. And that's it. Like, the 268 just can't do it. It doesn't have a fast enough reload. And you could say, what about a Strizvon K or something like that. But with the camo values that the 263 has, it also has the second highest camo in tier 10 for a TD. So it kind of checks all the boxes. Honestly, though, I think a 263 is better than a 268. There are some advantages to both tanks, but I find the 263 to be an incredibly scary tank. I really do. The camouflage value on this vehicle is 70%. And the 268 has a little bit more camo at 74%, but every other TD has worse camo. Adrenaline, I still don't think it would reset it. Even if you're running Rammer, how long does it take to cap a base? I don't know. But either way, this was when the 263 was really, really, really strong, and it had that crazy good mobility. It doesn't have that mobility anymore. So I don't know if I'd use it there. But in general, I do like the 263. I think that it is quite a capable vehicle. On Winter Mal, backing out a B cap when the enemy team goes A on that map has always been tough. If you commit a tank to B, it's probably staying there. We tested it. A lot of the times when I design these strats, I test them to figure out the best reason or the best way to do it. I think there's a building here, if I'm not mistaken, right? Yeah, so this building here that overlooks base B, you drive it into the building, and then basically, even if the tank bled some health, it was still... Because the way that I designed it, Dragon, is that we have the concept here. So the concept is going to make sure that while the 60's capping the base, they can't drive up this ramp. That's really the way that I design the strats in general, is that there's always some sort of planning in play, so that no matter what, I've got an answer to it. So like you'd think, okay, so they're just going to get hauled down here, and they're going to stop base C. But the only strat here, the only goal, is to get C and to force the enemy to push. So the gameplay plan in this game, T100 spots up the corner here, and then the concept sitting here, and it's going to bleed tanks as they're crossing immediately. Then what happens is the concept's going to stay here. And when we're capturing base B, the concept will simply stay here, haul down, and make sure that nothing goes up the ramp. And the T100 would sit back a little bit here to make sure that nothing's going to try and sneak around. So the gameplay strat here is really the concept's going to hold. It's going to make sure that nothing can push up the ramp to bleed out the tank on base B. And then once the tank on base B backs up, then the concept can fall back itself. From the time that I've tested the amount of time it takes to do all this, there's almost no tanks that are ever going to be fast enough to push that concept before we've captured base B, and the 60 TP backs off. So that's the way the strat works. There's a lot of pre-planning that goes into it. The only reason the 60 TP is the tank pushing into the base is because it reverses at 20 with gear oil. At this point, Kron would also be a decent idea, but we used the 60 at that time because it was the fastest reversing tier 10 heavy with gear oil. So that's why I used it. But in general, that's kind of the thought process behind the strat. Is the guy capping B instantly going in? No, he's instantly going in. Because we have the 777s crossing. So, like, here's the thought process, Dragon. Our T100's here. Our T100's obviously going to immediately push up to this ramp. Enemy teams that are pushing this side are going to instantly push the side. So you'll spot the heavies in the T100 before the 60 would be able to step into B. Because the 60 spawns here, and then it goes all the way over here into the base. So, with that being said, basically, the moment we spot tanks here, 60 would already be going into the base. And then if we don't spot anything here, then the 60 is just going to stay here and it's not going to push in. So the strat's basically designed in a way that we guarantee base B capture. That's kind of how it's designed. With the 263, you may run into pen issues. I don't think the pen issues would be a problem, Dragon. After they buff the 263's pen, it's actually quite good. If you didn't know, it's got massive pen buffs. It has 308 AP now and 407 heat with Kali. So it actually has really, really good pen now. So because of that, that's another reason why I use the 263. So in general, yeah, I had a lot of HE basically. The other thing, Dragon, you can't put 2 tanks into the base to cap it because of the way Port Bay's base cap is designed. I can show you that really quickly. Also, I will do the tanks that you guys are asking for in a moment. I'm just showing Dragon. But yeah, I'm like a nerd when it comes to designing the strats that I do. So this is kind of why. But I'll show you why you can't put 2 tanks into the base. So for red, if they're going A, they would send 4 heavies down the mid ramp, 3 to the corner. What would happen if 2 go up your ramp to force the concept off? I mean, as long as we get base B, it doesn't really matter. Like if they, because the strat, Dragon, for this one is basically, let's pretend that they're pushing here, right? They're pushing this. By the time they get to this concept, we will already have base B. So that's kind of the goal. Because the concept's not going to focus these guys driving here. They can send all the way over here if they want. It's not usually what ends up happening is players dig into this corner here. And the thing is, as well, is they don't know where you're going, right? I mean, the enemy team's going to get spotted immediately by the T100, and they're going to see the concept here. So the enemy team might not even know. You know, sometimes people might think, oh, well, they've got a line of tanks here waiting to push us. So the thing is, you also have to remember that, like, in most strats you play, a team isn't just going to immediately play as aggressive as possible. And this concept could be swapped out for a Kron as well, now that the Kron actually has really good DPM. But the idea of the strat is literally just to get base B capped if they're going this way, and then that's it. Then the concept backs off. I've tested it a lot of times, and especially with the tanks being used now in comp being 116s. Before when 777s were being used, it was a little more sus, but now with 116s being used, there's just tanks that they're not fast enough to be able to drive all the way over here from this spawn before the 60 captures base B. Your guy is stuck there? What? The guy at B? Maybe, but most of the times we've tested it, the tank's been able to back out of base B. Even if they do bleed 1,000 health, once you get that player out, even if they bleed a bit, it's still worth it. The thought process, though, is I'm probably going to swap this for a Kron anyway. I just don't really see in any world where tanks would push up this ramp if you have a Kron there. Once this tank caps, it just backs right out. There's like a very small window. They'd have to poke right here, and they'd have to drive over as well. And when they're driving over, it just wouldn't go well for them because you have to remember we also have tanks over here that would be able to shoot down this alleyway and shoot these tanks. So it would be pretty impossible for tanks to poke this because of the fact that we could just sit tanks at base C that can overlook that. Pretty sure they can see that. But let me show you why they can't cap C really quickly. I'd have to find that live stream where it happened, but everything worked, Dragon. Like, obviously, some of my strats have a bit of risk to them, but you have to take risks in comp, right? That's how it is. And my way of designing a strat is that I take a risk capturing base B, thinking that the enemy team isn't going to be able to counter it. And it usually worked. In scrims and against enemies in general, it usually works. Now, obviously, it only works once, but in general, it usually did get the job done. But let me go over here. So this here, this spot, is like the only position you can capture the base on Port Bay. And the reason why is because if you're sitting in this position over here, the 263 is going to be able to just constantly use the 263 is on that ridge line there. So the problem is, if you're on this position, the 263 can just fully see you. Your entire lower plate. I mean, look how high up the ridge is. So it's not even like a pen issue with the 263. Anything sitting in this base is getting shot by the 263. And then the thing is, if they put 2 tanks into the base, because of the way the base cap is designed, they'd be too large to sit there. And then the 60 TP that's over here would be able to see the second tank. So we have the 60 here, right? So the 60's hauled down. This tank that's hauled down here can see the tank that's sitting in the base from here. So the problem is you can't fit 2 tanks into this corner without the 60 being able to see the second one. So it's basically impossible to capture base C when you have the 263 back there and the 60 here. And it's impossible to capture this base at all without the 263 seeing your entire lower plate. Either way, let's play some games. Not there for reset. They're going to keep your guy on B from leaving. And the plan after that is you either wrap around your spawn or go back to theirs. Let me get rid of this. From the testing that I've done with this was a while ago, but from when we used it, it usually worked pretty well. A lot of the games that we played, the enemy team was more focused on the concept than they were on the tank at base B. Mainly because of the fact there's no way to shoot this guy. You can't, from the testing that I've done, Dragon, nothing here can shoot the 60. Like you're saying, they're going to keep your guy on B from leaving, but the only spot that they can keep him from leaving from is this position right here. That's it. Because if you look at it, I'll show you on the strat, and then we'll do some games. Where is... Bro, Falls Creek 2014. Nobody cares, Wargaming. Where the heck is Winter Malley? Am I blind? Faust, Alpenstadt, Mayan Ruins, Lagoon, Yamato, Canal. Well, there it is, Winter Malley. We use a 60. I think at this point, no, I probably wouldn't use a... I was thinking maybe I could use an E6 to drive into that base, but I probably wouldn't do that. As I said, the major reason why I use the 60 specifically is just because it reverses so fast and it has a lot of health. Plan can work, but it really depends on how the teams play after the initial strats. Yeah, but that's fine. I mean, even if the tank does get stuck in base B, it's still not too big of a problem because I have plenty of team support. But I'm willing to have that tank bleed health to get out. Even if that tank bleeds 1200 health, I'm willing to have it bleed that health to get out of the base. Once it's capped, it doesn't matter. Because at the end of the day, once base B gets captured, it forces the enemy to push on a very unfavorable matchup. Because they have to get all the way up, right? And we have base C and base B controls, so they're kind of screwed at that point. So, like, if you're here, let's pretend you drive into the base. Alright, so drive in, boom, boom, boom. Alright, so obviously from this position here, this is kind of where you'd sit. This I think, this here is the spot that I tell the player to sit. Because from this position, nobody can really shoot you anywhere. Or maybe here. I don't remember exactly where. Probably here would be the safest spot. But the point being, you're going to sit here, you're going to capture the base. And then the plan is, in that time, you're just going to back up like this. The only tanks that are really going to be able to shoot you are right here. And the thing is, if they try to shoot you, as I said, I have tanks that are sitting here. So, like, the thing is, there's no way the enemy's going to be able to poke that. Because if we have 3 777s that are in the back corner here, they can literally sit in that back corner. Let me go back here. So, like, the thing is, my thought process, Dragon, is that you have 3 777s back here. These tanks can literally sit back here, completely unspotted. And that's where the enemy runs into problems. Like, if we're capturing base B, I don't need to care about base C immediately. So the strat is that we focus on B first because it's the most important cap. So instead of sending my tanks into base C, I send them all the way far corner like this, all 3 of them. And then when the 60 is capturing the base, when the enemies are obviously here, the concept is going to spot them up, right? So you look at the strat. So here's what happens, Dragon, right? Concept's here. Anything that tries pushing up these ramps can't. Because these tanks back here will absolutely bleed them out when they try poking. And that is the only spot that they can reset the 60. So if these tanks try to reset the 60 TP, or not reset, but if they try to bleed him out when he's backing up, they're going to be absolutely nuked for making that play. So the only play that they're realistically going to have is to be able to push this concept off. But by the time they've dug that concept back, at that point, the 60's already back in cover. And even if they do bleed out the 60 a bit, they're going to bleed out just as much, if not more, because of these 3 777s here. Not to mention we have a 60 here, which can also poke and shoot. So that's kind of the thought process. The idea of the strat is that no matter what, the enemy's going to bleed the same, if not more, to try and reset you. And that's why I don't, you can see that's why I don't have anything driving in the C immediately, is because C is not an important base. C is always guaranteed if the team's going this way. The problem is they will get base A before you get base C. So the way that the strat is designed is we guarantee base B if they go to base A. Then we make sure that the 60 can back out by overlooking the crossing. And then we can drive the 60 or something into base C. So we kind of have cover from all the areas. Alright, what tanks do we have donated for, though? Yeah, my strats are weird, but that's kind of how I like to design them, because I feel like there's so many strats in comp that are just the same thing over and over and over. Enemy tanks of strong Turks will peek and haul down. I don't think they are haul down at that distance, Dragon. Like, if they're gonna be haul down, then they're not gonna be able to see the 60, you know what I mean? And the nice thing about the 777 is that it does actually have a really accurate gun. That's why I like the 777, because with Refined Gun, it's got 0.28 dispersion. But I just feel like if pretend you're the enemy team, right? And you're trying to poke base B, you don't see what's in base B because it's unspotted. And because the concept's detecting you, not only is the concept shooting you in the side, but now you also have these 777s all the way in the back, which are just slinging shell after you. At that point, it's going to be very challenging to want to stay holding B. I just feel like most teams are going to back off of that ramp for a little bit of time, and it would give you enough time to back the 60 up. Obviously, it's all a mental game, but that's kind of the way the strat's designed. So what donations do we have here? We have a Boss Chatillon for the 3 mark next. Okay. We got a WZ 111. Thank you for the donation. Provisions. Boom. But yeah, I don't know. I just feel like, as I said, a lot of the comp teams, because the thing that I'm so used to is just every comp team does the same strat over and over and over. They play their tanks the same way. They do the same thing. And it's just very sad, in my opinion, when you see the same things being done over and over and over. So when I design strats, I like to design them in a way where it tries to at least combat the meta in a decent way. We're going to go with Tungsten and Adrenaline. 215B, thank you for the donation.
Had an _FR donated $2 through Super Chat. FV 215B.
Okay. Boom, boom. Boom, boom. Alright, nice. There you go. And battle. 2 tanks to push the concept off, 2 tanks to make sure the guy never leaves. The enemy's team's version will make the exact flex strat. Maybe, but as I said, it's really just down to how they react to it. And even if they do bleed out the 60, as I said, I don't even care if the 60 bleeds. That's kind of the thought process, is that the 60 is going to go into that base, and it's going to back up either way. Even if they do bleed the 60, they're not going to kill it. It has 2,700 health. It's still going to be able to back up, and that's the whole thought process. The only tanks that could potentially bleed it out a lot would be like Krons, but Krons also have very, very poor armor, and the Krons would get bled by the, I think 116s would be the only tank that would arguably be able to, like, hold it off there. But even then, I still think that it would be decent. And like, as I said, it did work against Purple. We also tested it against Gosu, and it worked fine. We had the base as well. So, obviously, when you're going up against, like, the top 1 clans, sometimes the strats aren't going to work as well. But at the end of the day, these strats were designed for top 8. And in a lot of top 8, players make mistakes. And they don't do the resets, or they make a bad play. And that's where... Okay, bro just instantly hatches me? I don't even know where he penned me. This tank is the biggest pile of trash, by the way. I have a strat on Nube with the Yagpan 3100. 327 from a 400. Bruh. I love that they just always pen me. I don't even know where that one penned me. It Ricochet penned me. That was real goofy. Nice. 479. Top 1 strats aren't much different from top 8. There's only so many things you can do. The big difference between me and like other players is mainly the tanks. I mean, obviously, everybody's tried a lot of strats at some point. Well, some of my strats are definitely interesting, I will say that. My triple yo vineyard strat is very interesting. But, in general, I like to use different tanks. And the thing is, when people don't see tanks that are used commonly, it kind of throws them off, right? I mean, if you see, for example, 2 M6Yos and like 260 TPs and maybe a Badger or something, the question is, people are now going to be asking, okay, what is the strat with these tanks? Where are they going to be going? Because people are so used to the meta of the same thing over and over and over that when they see tanks that aren't that meta, they're not going to know exactly what might be played with those tanks. Like, as I said, on Nube, I have a Jagdpanzer 100. And I guarantee the main question that a lot of players on the enemy team, on the enemy strat would have is where's the Jag, right? Because obviously you don't want to drive into a Jagdpanzer and lose 800 health and throw the game for your team because you stumbled into that tank. So that's kind of what I like about strats like that, is you can put that fear factor into the enemy. Like on Desert Sands, I have a strat with 560 TPs. And there's just no world where the enemy team's going to push into 560s. I just don't really see how that would ever work out. You won't get a guy doing the worst comp player ever backing up maneuver? Yeah. Well, top 8's pretty dead now, I'm going to be honest. Blitz is just so dead in terms of comp. Bruh. This gun is so L. Bruh. This tank, the problem with this tank is it's just a worse 112 Glacial. Just because it has special consumables doesn't mean it's a good tank. That's really the problem. It is just a worse 112 Glacial. I mean, I actually did okay. I did 2700, which isn't bad. It's just the armor on this tank doesn't work. Well, good job, yo. That was very impressive. A very, very good shot. Well, did the best I could. 3,000 damage is pretty good when you're against tier 9s in this piece of trash. Okay. That was a bad team. That was a really, really bad team. This whole tank is the biggest L? Yeah, it's pretty bad. It's not as worse as the Quetzal, no. I disagree with that. But it's definitely not a good tank. CS-63. CS-63 is a pretty fun tank. I don't love it, but it is a fun tank. Unique tanks for unique positions can be good, but it completely depends if the game goes to plan. Because if it doesn't, you now have a Yag completely out of position, and that's just a liability. I mean, I can show you the strat. I don't think I ever used it. Nah, I don't remember. I don't think I ever used the strat. I've made a lot of these, and I just never used them because I've never really culled since Cease. And the strats worked fine with Cease. We did, as I said, we got top 10 with a clan full of players that were bad. I mean, half of those players were rival players, and that was before rival even had a decent chance at anything. There were a lot of bad players on that team. Overweight Rat, Toxic Rat or whatever. I had to put him in because he was the clan lead. He forced me to have him play. Just was not a fun session. But the strats did surprisingly well. This is the one with the Yag. And it's an interesting one, but the way that I designed it is the Yag really can't get caught out in the open or put into an uncomfortable position. The way it's designed is very simple. The idea of this strat is concept. This was obviously before the E6 was really good. So the concept drives in the base C, and it captures the base faster than the enemy captures their base. And then what happens is The concept has two options depending on what happens here, but like ideally the concept's it's gonna back up to here and it's gonna get hauled down here. And then the E100 is gonna stay side scraping here. E100 is gonna have the 12.8 with its 3000 DPM holding there. And then the Yag, if the enemy team is gonna push up this way, is literally gonna sit here, haul down. That's kind of the whole idea of the Yag. Because the Yag has good DPM. It's got good pen, and it's got a really nasty gun with tungsten. Obviously, it's losing tungsten, but when this was designed, it had tungsten. The thought process was that you could literally just sit the Yag here, and the enemy just can't push this. What are they going to do? They have to kill the E100, and they can't get to the E100 unless they drive up because of where it's positioned. So the thought process I had is that if they try to kill this E100, they have a Yag here. There's no way an enemy team's going to be willing to bleed 900 health to a Yag, then fight a 3000 DPM E100 plus a concept. So 3 tanks can effectively hold off an entire push. And then the idea is that by the time they try pushing up to the Yag, then our team will have pushed down the bridge and they can get to the crossing. So that's kind of the thought process. And then the other side of the map, obviously, the Yag's just sitting back here, so if the enemy team tries pushing up the bridge, these tanks just sit here, get hauled down, and if they try pushing over, the Yag covers. So the Yag is basically just a placeholder. It's a tank that's going to stop the enemy from making pushes. That's kind of the thought process behind it. Let's go into a battle. Thank you for your video on the Minotauro. I learned a lot, but I do wish you had a little more information on how to properly position your tank. I mean, blocking shots in the Minnow is very basic. You just hide the lower plate. Congratulations, you're not going to block shots. And when it comes to positioning, again, just hide the lower plate. It's a heavy tank, right? Drive it like you drive any other heavy, but just hide the lower plate. Okay, the bat chat is next. I thought you wanted me to 3-mark the bat chat. Pick a tank, more like pick a gender? I don't even know what that means. Do you think before you type comments? Why does the 3-shot tier 10 yo trolled me a lot? I mean, I think the 2-shot's better as an option anyway. But the 3-shot is... it's good. The gun, I just don't really feel like a 300 alpha gun's very scary. A 450 is a lot scarier, so people are not as easily pushing you. Oh. I don't know if I'm 3-marking the bat chat next, so I'm going to be honest, Manhattan. I'm going to be totally real. I don't know how I feel about people donating for me to mark tanks that I might not want to mark. Because I feel like $10 for 4 hours of my life to 6 hours of my life just isn't really a fair transaction, if you understand what I'm saying. $10 for 20, 30 minutes of gameplay in a tank, totally understandable. $10 to decide my entire choice and make me suffer for 5 to 6 hours, maybe not. So I think as of now, I'm going to be picking the tanks that I 3-mark unless people are donating actually large sums of money, because it's just not really a positive trade for me. Not really sure what to do here. We got a 113 over here. Really? You're gonna focus me? Frickin' tofu gamer? Nice. Okay. 113 hatch is very, very troll. Dang. Shell did not go where I wanted it to. Got an E3 in the back. I don't really love what's going on here, I'm going to be honest. Okay, thank you, Yag. I would say $100 for a 3 mark live stream is... Yeah, I agree. I feel like $100 is more realistic. I just don't want to have another situation like I did with the mouse and the Type 5, where I have people that beg me to play tanks that I don't want to play, and then I end up spending my entire day molding on a vehicle that's not enjoyable for me. I was really hoping that would track the IS-7, but it didn't. It doesn't matter anyway. I don't understand why the CS has such a high mark XP. It is not a very good tank in terms of any of its capabilities. I mean, it has a good gun, but, like, it's just not a great tank. It's okay, but I don't know. I mean, this game was never going to be a win, so it didn't make a difference. Droodles, what if I donate? I don't know. What if you do? You won't. I hate when people type comments like that. If you're going to donate, then why are you saying, what if? Just do it. Like... Well, pretty bad team, but it's Blitz, and it's whatever. Hello, Chara. How you doing? Alright, last game in the 2-5B, and then we'll end off the stream. Three marking is only for tier 10. It's not for all tanks, it's for tier 9 and tier 10 right now. What about the motion? I mean, I'm planning on doing the tier 10s first. There's, what, 70 tier 10s in the game? I've done 10, so we're at, like, 14-15% of tier 10s done already. Are you still in the CC program? I never was in the CC program. I'm not sure why people have ever assumed I was in the CC program. I don't think Wargaming will ever let me be part of it, which is quite ironic because I am the largest content creator and literally the face of their game. I mean, sure, there's people like Angel and Wattby Joe, which are technically larger creators, but they post like once a month, where I'm posting every single day on everything to know about the game. So when it comes to information, new tank releases, and anything like that, I'm literally the only person that people go to. And it's kind of tragic when Wargaming kind of ignores the person who is the largest content creator. They can say it's because of the drama that happened like a year ago, but I'm going to be real, that drama was pretty dang stupid. But I don't really care, because at the end of the day, oh, okay. Let's pen you. What I was going to say is I don't really care, because at the end of the day, my channel isn't reliant on Wargaming. If I didn't have a press account, it wouldn't matter. It really wouldn't. Because I would still make the same amount of videos I do. I would buy the tanks on my main account, and it wouldn't stop me. I mean, sure, it'd cost a little bit more money, but I'm sure that people would be willing to donate money to me to buy new tanks. And with the fact that I have my other channels, which are doing very popular, just more reason for me to post more content on my other channels than focus on Blitz. Wargaming needs me a lot more than I need them. That is the simple fact. Wargaming can act like I need them or whatever it is, but I don't need Wargaming. I really don't. I never needed Wargaming for the first 100,000 subs I grew on this channel, and in fact, Wargaming hasn't helped me at all. They really haven't. They've never done anything for me. The amount of money and monetization I've brought to Blitz versus the amount of any help they've given me, the only thing they've done is they've given me a press account, which is nice, don't get me wrong, but I already own 90% of the tanks in the game. So it really doesn't make much of a difference to me. I already have mostly everything. So doesn't really matter. Of course he high rolls it. But yeah, because of that, doesn't really make much of a difference. So, Wargaming needs me. If I stop posting videos on this game, the game will die. I honestly believe that. Wargaming needs my approval on Reforged, because if I trash on Reforged, pretty sure Reforged will die. Like, I'm pretty confident if I had said Reforged was great and that it was the most amazing thing ever, Wargaming would not be receiving 90% of the backlash that they are receiving. My Reforged videos alone received 50,000 views each, and absolutely dominated the YouTube scene when it came to the entire Reforged situation. So, if I had been like, oh my god, Reforged looks great, I'm so happy and so excited about it, I'm very confident that it would have been a very different situation. So as I said, I am... Thank you very much for the donation, by the way, Newt. But I'm very confident that Wargaming needs me. It's not the other way around. I've got multiple channels, I've got revenue sources, and I was smart in doing that because I don't need Wargaming. So at the end of the day, I'm getting a little bit fed up with Wargaming. I message the CC manager, and he doesn't reply to me for like 4 to 5 days, and it's starting to become to a point where it's very frustrating, because I deserve the time of day to get talked to when I'm the largest content creator on this game. I deserve to get some respect and recognition. And if they want to get mad at me and say, oh, well, you have a bad past or something, I don't really care. I'm still the largest content creator, and you should deserve, or you should give the content creator that is literally carrying your freaking game right now some respect. That's how I look at it. Because pretty soon what'll happen here is when GTA 6 comes out, and my GTA channel takes off, I won't give a single shit about Blitz. And when I stop posting videos on the game, I really don't know what Wargaming's going to do, because they're going to have no content creators. Can somebody actually name another content creator that posts videos daily on Blitz? And, like, actually plays the game? And is good at the game? And actually has opinions? Okay. And here's the thing. Once my GTA channel does take off, and I am posting Helldivers content as well, and that channel's doing well as it is, the thing is, if those channels start to take off and I start making a lot of money from those channels, I won't be reliant on Blitz. I won't be, even in the slightest. And when that happens, it doesn't matter to me if Wargaming gets rid of my press account. It doesn't, because I won't need them. It won't make a difference. I'll have enough money to buy any tank I want, and the Blitz channel will just be basically tax write-offs for me. So Wargaming not giving me respect is going to hurt them a lot more than it hurts me. Oh my god, Manhattan. Thank you for the donation.
At itsmanhattan_FR donated $90 through Super Chat. Now there's no room for debate, Droodles. 3 marking the bat chat has to happen. WG doesn't support you, but I can.
Thank you very much for the donation. Appreciate it, Manhattan. Well, we'll probably do the bat chat tomorrow then, you frickin' poob. Nice shot into you. Ah, we love that. We love autoloaders. You're so good at the game. Wow. You know what I'm going to do? I was going to push the bat chat, but I'm not going to do it now because the Sheridan's back there. I was going to just send the bat chat. So sick of players thinking they can get away with driving over the ridge in a freaking light tank, my dude. Not a very exciting game that's going on here. Nah. If this thing had AP, that would have penned. Bonk. Of course. Everybody's shooting me because apparently our team can't do anything. Well, we lost medium flank. E5 still camping in the back. This will be a loss. 100%. Okay. Brother. I like the AIM XM4. The one problem with the Amex is because it's so large, it's a very easy target for players to bully when it's caught out in the open. And we're in that situation here where my team sucks, as usual, and because of that, I can't really do anything, as you can imagine. Breaking news. Droodles' team sucks. What a shocker. Oh my god. And the AMX gun also sucks. I find it funny, you know, reactive is one of those things that people try to act as like the best thing since sliced bread. And what's ironic about it is reactive doesn't really do anything. It really doesn't. Great. Of course my ammo rack gets damaged. Of course. Of course. So reactive gave me the ability to get a damaged ammo rack. Because I don't have a repair kit now. How fun. I find it funny how this STB is scared of me to a point where they actually won't poke me. There you go. I did okay. I mean, everything considered, I did pretty good. Got some bounces there, which is nice. Yeah. Oh well. Pretty bad team. Alright, well there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. That will be the end of today's live stream. Pretty bad teams, as usual. What a shocker. But that is the way the Blitz cookie crumbles. If you enjoy content like this and you want to see more, thank you for tuning in. And thank you very, very much for the donation, Manhattan. I appreciate it a lot. I probably won't appreciate it tomorrow, but I do appreciate it today. I will see you all in the next one. Bye-bye.